Hello, my fellow foam flinging enthusiasts. It is Andrew, aka Dart Sweep, and welcome back to another very fun foam flinging filled episode of the Foam Zone. Cue soundboard one day. So appreciate everyone joining us. All one people that are currently in here. One, oh no, five. I see five. So welcome. Appreciate you guys joining us this evening. Should be a fun, very informative stream this evening. I'm looking forward to it. But yes, welcome to another episode of the Foam Zone here on the World Foam Alliance YouTube channel. The World Foam Alliance is your or is going to be your one-stop hub, one-stop shop for all your foam flinging resource needs to get connected to fling foam together. Eventually, we'll get there. Also, if this is your first time tuning in the Foam Zone is a bi-weekly live streaming show where we invite guests all throughout the hobby. Doesn't matter who they are, whether they're players, modders, designers, club admins, club runners, HVZ organizers, or just anyone that just likes to play or fling foam in any capacity. That's what we're about. That's who we like to have on. So if that's you, we love to have you on and share our passion, get to know you, and yeah. So if that's something you're interested in, please send us a DM. We would love to have you on and get you on the show. So let's see. Anything new? Anything new? Well, I guess we gotta mention the events that will be coming up. Let's see. For it's a busy month, especially October. I know is super busy. But as we're going into September, I'm not sure if we have anything in September going on. But let's see who we got in the chat right now. Looks like we got Devin from Burgers and Blasters. What is up? I actually want to talk to you because I have some ideas for the socials. So we'll be in touch, hopefully. Ivy with Wings, welcome. And I cannot see who else is in the chat because no one has commented yet. But if you are in the chat, welcome. Appreciate you guys. Let's see. All right. Yeah. So for events coming up, so I just found out I may have my October free. So there are a bunch of events that I'm hopefully going to get a chance to go out for the very first time, maybe only time. But I'm looking forward to that. I've been talking to people in the background, trying to coordinate things, lodging, travel, and all that stuff. So, but obviously, one of the big ones is going to be Ragnarok. I believe that is the weekend before Goucher. So yeah, so I think there is, I forget the date on that, but yeah, that'll be happening. So that is the one I'm actually looking forward to going to because I think I will be making a trip out there with Al the Geek and maybe some other people. So September 27th. What is September 27th? Oh, Devin from B&B is saying Blitzfire September 27th. So check out their website for their
Uh-oh. Yeah. Normally.
Cool. I can hear you. Yeah, buddy. Oh, nice. Am I on? Is this thing on? Welcome to another episode of Get Off My Lawn. No, wait a minute. Is this like a, you know what, man? I've been reading about this thing. There's got to be a glitch, and this has got to be like the wrong Wednesday, the wrong show and stuff like that. Or now, just follow me on this one. Or someone is having a problem, and maybe he's froze right now, so you're stuck with me. So then where we're at right now is welcome to another episode of Foam Zone. I missed how far he got into the intro and where we're at. But anyways, upcoming dates, I think that's where we left off. So right now, man behind the curtain is doing a wonderful thing and filling me in on what's going on. But upcoming things that we go on, obviously, a big one is RAG. So Ragnar Oktoberfest is coming up. That is the weekend of October 10th, 11th, and 12th. If you can make it out for that, that'd be great. If you can't, I understand it. Word on the street is one me, Al the Geek, and one Andrew, a.k.a. Dart Sweep, will be going to RAG for the first time, which is crazy that his schedule will allow for it. But I think we're going to make that happen. However, I'll be honest, we haven't bought tickets to anything yet. We're just in the processing and figuring out stage. Also, Mall Madness is coming up, and I can't remember, and feel free to correct me in the chat. It's either going to be the weekend after or 2 weeks after RAG. So that's a great thing. And I already know that one Captain Xavier will be at that. So if you're going out to that, we'd love to hear about it. Always be sure to report back and let us know. It's great to find out what's happening and how things are going. There is also another event Andrew had mentioned, and I can't remember what it is, but anyways, that'll be coming up as well, but we'll get back to that. So again, if you haven't already, be sure to hit the subscribe button, like, subscribe, the usual stuff. As always, we make no money. What does that mean? We're trying to grow our presence on social media and maybe one day make more money. That'd be great. Then we can do more things. Like and subscribe, share, like, subscribe. You know what you're doing. It's YouTube, man. You understand how this game is played. Please play the game. Now, in the meantime, we do have a guest this week. Unlike Get Off My Lawn, it's not a call-in show. You don't have to just listen to the two old men ramble endlessly. We actually talk to people, hear about them and their stories, which is probably my favorite part of the show. Well, we love Andrew too, but my point is the great thing that Foam Zone does is that it brings on anybody and everybody that participates and does things in the hobby. Cool things, little things, big things. It's just a great forum and a great place where you can actually learn about, talk to people that do the crazy things they do. So without further ado, the person we have today, he is one DonutCat. Donut is associated with the Maryland Foam Alliance. He is at various events. Donut, you know what? We can almost call Donut the man in the chair, because it's amazing what the man can finish over there. Even though he's not always on the field, some of the great things that happen at the events is because of him. Donut Man, what's shaking, brother? How are you?
Oh, what is good? Hello, nerds. Kelly time and beautiful risings to you all. It is I, the DonutCat, the donut of cats, the cat of donuts, the Nerf mechanic, etc. Man of many titles and many things I fix.
These are true statements. And like I said, the man in the chair, you won't always find, people aren't going to always find you out in the field, but many times they're going to find you behind a table. And every time I see you, you are always tinkering with someone's thing, or even better said is when you're tinkering with the crazy things that you make. So I guess before we get too ahead of ourselves, as people are sitting there looking around going, who the hell is Donut? Well, now you're finding out. How about you tell us exactly how you ended up falling into this community?
Oh, so that is an old story. I am from the before times. Basically, all started back around 2005, 2006, actually. My brother had gotten a Nerf long shot, and everybody knows the front blaster of it. Back then, we called it the long shot front gun, but nowadays, long shot front blaster. We got it, and obviously streamlined reverse plunger. We shot it, and it's like, oh, that's sad. There's got to be some way to make this better. And so, I went to good old Windows XP on dial-up internet, which hasn't actually improved over time because rural internet in North Carolina. Went and looked up how to make Nerf Longshot better, or something along those lines. And lo and behold, I found Nerf Haven. And that was just downhill from there. Or I guess uphill, either way, it definitely it was a life-changing encounter, because from then on it's just like, there are people all around that are making Nerf blasters better, making DIY Nerf blasters, doing all sorts of fun things with them. So I fell into it. I fell into it face first, down a set of stairs face first into it. It was captivating at the time, and that was where I started. Was way back then. We didn't have a lot of the nice off-the-shelf options like we do nowadays. You go get a Recon off the shelves, and you can you can't really spring swap it. This was before even there were kits for that. Orange ModWorks wasn't for a while later, but I think I had one. I dremeled out the inside of the bolt so that I could fit Whistler darts in it, and then Whistler darts in the end strike.
Of course you did.
Yeah, and then I took and put some PVC on the stock, and I had a Nightfinder spring inside of that, so I power stocked it. And who knows how hard it hit? It probably hit less than 80 FPS, but back then we didn't even use FPS. We used, angled ranges, flat ranges with streamlines. It was so different than it is nowadays.
It's not as amazing when you look back at what we did and what we do now, and the fact that we survived and still are in it and still relevant. I think that's the best part about it. It's evolving.
Yeah, so back then, like short darts, there weren't short darts on shelves. You wanted short darts, you go to Ace Hardware, you buy buy a spool of foam backer rod, you cut it into short pieces, you throw them in a pillowcase in the dryer to straighten them out, and then you take a hot glue gun, put a hole in the end of it, drop a BB in there, and put hot glue over it, and bam, DIY darts that people shot at each other at unknown velocities, because we didn't check FPS back then. Again, we just sort of did. So who knows what some monstrosities, some single Titans, hydro cannons. Well, hydro cannon was a bit later, but yeah, like that. Who knows? Granted, we were also shooting out of like half-inch CPVC, so that kind of killed velocity a lot of the time. But still, it was the Wild West.
It really was. It's the pre-printer days where it's kind of like when before Adadarts, before kits, before anything else, it was exactly like you said. Go online, Google it, and then figure it out. Or if you didn't Google it, take it apart, hope you didn't break it, and figure out how to put it back together again and increase something or anything.
Oh yeah, that was a goal. If you could take it apart and put it back together and it still work, that was already a success. So anything past that, was just benefit.
Huge, man. And so then by the way, ladies and gentlemen, for those playing along at home, we might have one Andrew returning, but I'm not going to promise that till I know he's actually there. We think he's there. He might not be there, but he is there.
I think I'm here.
Oh, I think we have a return. All right.
I make no guarantees, though.
All right.
For how long is the question, though? Is the real question. For how long? Al, don't go anywhere. I'm scared.
I will just lurk in the background. I'm gonna mute my mic. I'll be hitting on the background.
Yeah. So I am streaming from my phone, which is plugged into the wall power, and for some reason the phone has no power. So, life. Yes, I do apologize for that. Technical difficulties. That is the luxury and lifestyle that we live while we do live streams sometimes. So again, appreciate everyone sticking around. Al, thank you so much. Al, why don't you just finish the show so I can go cry in the corner by myself. Yeah, why don't you guys just catch me up to speed? I wasn't listening, unfortunately, so I don't know where you guys left off.
We were talking about how I got into Nerf, and then just a little bit about how things were back in late 2000s Nerf scene. Oh, did he disappear again?
I don't know. Possibly.
Andrew.
After that first mod, then I guess what was the bit at that point? Did you? Because I think Like every time I see you, even though you know how to mess with a lot of things, you are definitely on the side where you like to mess with the with soldering and the electric. You're more of a flywheeler than a Springer guy. Am I correct in making that assumption?
I mean, a little bit, yeah. Like as far as using them, I think I like using the Springers more. But as far as like building and working on them, I like just any sort of electronic blasters more. It just carries over. I have a lot of soldering experience, which I think that started early on. One of the first blasters I had that was my own to work on was a Vulcan, which, you know, at the time was a fantastic thing. And I did some unfortunate things to that Vulcan, one of which might have included a spray can of black paint, but you know, that was the style at the time. I had done some terrible things to a Vulcan. At some point, I had it working off of a 12-volt wall plug, just to see if I could. Another time, I had made a strange combination of alkaline batteries that I don't exactly remember what it was, but it was several 9 volts, some D cells, and I think even a pack, like a holder of double A's, and I think I got somewhere around the range of 30 volts out of it and was running it off of that. And somehow, I don't know how, you know, alkaline, so it didn't, you know, catch fire or anything, but it was, you know, a lot of my electrical experience back then was knowing enough to be a hazard to myself. And then,
So I guess that's
going from there.
so I guess that's what I wanted to get at. So because again, for many people getting to the hobby and you pop open a flywheeler, it can be kind of overwhelming as you watch videos. You think this can't be that hard, but then you do it and it's like maybe it is that hard. So did you have a background with or some background in electronics and like soldering, or for you it was kind of like, wow, this is cool, and I'm gonna let YouTube be the ultimate teacher like so many of us have done?
A little bit of both. So, you know, growing up, I was largely raised by my grandparents, who had both been themselves raised by parents who, you know, lived through the Great Depression era and sort of had been taught a mentality of, oh, I'm forgetting the word here, self-reliance, I guess. You know, knowing how to do everything they would need to do. And so growing up, anything that my grandfather wanted to do or needed to do, he knew how to do. Like working on a house, he knew electrical, he knew plumbing, he knew carpentry, he knew mechanical stuff, and all of that. You know, obviously me, you know, hanging out around them, being raised by them, that a lot of that rubbed off onto me as I inherited a lot of, you know, the self-reliance and the mechanical aptitude for that sort of thing. So even though there was a lot that I didn't actually know, I had a good baseline for being able to pick it up as I went along. You know, look at something, have enough baseline knowledge to understand the basic parts of it, and then work from there to figure out the specifics after the fact.
The first question you ask is not who do I call. Your first question is, all right, how do I do this?
Pretty much. How do I get it apart? Because if I can get something apart, then I can work on it. That's the trick. It's when running into, you know, other issues. If you can't get something apart, or is it made to come apart, or, you know, it's made to inhibit being taken apart, that's really the biggest obstruction to you know, being able to work on stuff.
It's you're giving me flashbacks of my childhood where I'd come down on a Saturday morning and I'm like about to go head out with my friends, and my dad's looking at me and goes, where are you going? Out? No, you're not. Why? I already started. We're taking apart the washing machine. What?
Yes.
I love doing it, but I wish I had more time to prep for it instead of randomly, this is what you're doing today. But you're absolutely correct. When you're able to take something apart, you really are, and you pay attention, you can learn so much about it, and then just being able to put it back together. So I understand that vibe completely.
Yeah.
So then, how did you end up in Maryland?
Okay, so that's a bit of a longish story. The short of it is, you know, obviously COVID happened. At the time that COVID happened, I was self-employed. I was hanging out in the Mechanical Keyboards online community, and I was basically doing a lot of stuff with them and running a small business off of them. I would make DIY USB cables because those were everybody wanted a custom cable to be color matched to their keyboard, their keycaps, whatever. I had started doing a lot of soldering work, repair work on keyboards. People would send me kits and parts kits and be like, "Hey, can you put this together, assemble it for me?" That I had a dude send me a trackball with a fixed cable and said, "Hey, can you put a custom cable on this?" I think he actually sent me 2 of them now that I remember, and yeah, I did that. At some point, someone sent me a 100-foot length of some quite expensive cable and some audio connectors that after I looked them up were like $100 for a set of those connectors. Like, hey, make me some headphone cables. I'm like, okay. At the time,
okay.
it's like, I started off keyboards and everybody's like, hey, you know how to do soldering. Can you just solder this too? And I'm like, okay, yeah. So I was doing that at the time. COVID hit. And obviously everybody's available expenses for luxury goods, non-necessities, it plummeted. It was just gone. So like a few months after, I think the hit real big in March of 2020, and a couple months after that, it was just very obvious that stuff wasn't going right. So there was a couple years of, I guess that year of uncertainty. At the time, a friend of mine who was military was stationed in Fort Meade in Maryland. He got a house up there, I want to say middle of that year, and was like, hey, my house needs a lot of work. Because the previous owners were DIY enthusiasts, but not necessarily DIY capable.
That's a nice way of putting it.
Yeah, so he basically said, hey, make some trips up to my place over the course of next year and a half or something and help me work on my house. So I would do that. I would go up there. I think the longest I stayed up there with him was 2 months or something. And basically anything in the house that needed work, I was there to help with. He knew how to do drywall stuff and some carpentry stuff, but I helped him with carpentry. I changed every outlet and every light switch in his house. Fixed several of his lights that were just not put in well, redid the lights in his garage because he had like a single light bulb in the middle of his garage that really sucked. So we ended up with 6 LED like square lights across his garage. Now you go in there, it's just flip the switch, it's daytime in there. That his entire a closet that we took and just put fixed shelving in there for a lot of work that that all my experience came in handy with. And basically middle of 2022, after my my previous trip up there, he said, hey, looks like your self-employment stuff isn't getting better. Come stay up here with me for a bit. I'll get you a referral, because at the time he had been out of the Army, but had just moved directly to Booz Allen, military contractor. And he said, hey, I'll get you a referral in, and we'll work on getting you a job. And I was like, okay. So August of 2022, I packed up most of my belongings into the back of the truck and drove up to his place and started staying with him. And a couple weeks later, he was like, hey, this woman I work with, she said her husband plays Nerf nearby over in Severn. And that was, so he worked with Adam's wife, Adam, the field admin for Maryland Nerf Herders, and said, hey, there's Nerf stuff that goes on over here. And I'm like, huh, okay, that sounds cool. I'll go there. So August Nerf Herders of 2022 was my first, Nerf event up in Maryland. And I didn't do a whole lot there. I showed up partway through the day. It had been a week after I tripped over a curb. And so I was still like, a lot of the skin on my knee was still not there.
Yep.
So I showed up, I hung around. I met Andrew for the first time, who, is he back? He might be back, but
almost.
Anyway, I met him for the first time, met Neil for the first time, met a lot of the Nerf Herders people. hung out till the end of the day, helped clean up, went and had dinner with them, and then already made plans. They were like, "Hey, there's another event going on over in Gaithersburg next weekend. You wanna hit that up?" And I'm like, I could, but like I don't know about driving over there. And Neil's like, "Yeah, I'll drive you over." And it all started there. Like that was the beginning of starting to show up at MDFA events and exist in the Maryland Nerf scene. So it's actually just a little over 3 years since I started that.
Not bad. I think, because I remember, the first time I met you was it was the indoor event over at over in at the fairground.
Okay, yeah, so that probably would have been January or February of 23.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, because you're just kind of hanging out in the background and stuff like that. Just weird dude. But then I'm like, I figured out. It's like, all right, now I know who he is.
Yeah, I think that was Andrew's first impression too. Was the first Nerf herders I showed up where I just hung around. I was socially awkward. I had at the time my friend group, my close friend group, but I didn't really go out and do stuff a bunch. So I had to adapt a little bit, learn a little bit.
Dude, showing up at an event, it's better being the weird guy. Instead, what I got and stuff like that, dude. I saw him on America's Most Wanted. Someone called the cops. So you know what? This is not. We all fall into a stereotype that we quickly figured out. No, that's all right. He's good. Never mind.
Yeah, that's how it goes. Yep.
So then, I guess we might have Andrew back soon. Then, so I guess now that you start showing up at Maryland events, when is it then? So did that like kind of throw you back into it where you started? Because it seems like when you're doing the repairs with your buddy and the whole transition, you weren't doing much with the Nerf stuff. But now that you attended a couple events, like right away, did you get back into modding and looking at different things, or did it take a little bit till you started experimenting again?
Yeah, Andrew is back. Hello, Andrew. Welcome back. I'm trying to think because I think it was. I obviously at the time I hadn't brought all of my existing Nerf stuff up with me when I had moved up to Maryland for the time, so I think that slowed me down a little bit. But I did start like buying stuff and getting back into it more gradually. I think it was like a couple months when Dictators were on sale at Target, and I went and after one of our meals at Nerf herders at the Applebee's, I just immediately went over to Target and picked I had ordered the Dictator online while we were eating and then went and picked it up. But yeah, it was a little gradual getting back into things. But again, that was mostly inhibited by just not having a lot of my stuff with me. When I made a trip back down to my family's place that winter, I ended up coming back with a couple totes of my Nerf stuff and was able to start getting back into it full speed.
All right, one more question until Andrew takes over again. At what point did Andrew start dumping all the stuff he broke to you to fix? And you stopped.
Immediately. Once Justice said, "No, I'm busy."
Yeah, I'm trying to think because I guess that is basically when everybody started realizing that I was, good at working on stuff. I think that definitely took over at like DMV. I think it was definitely DMV events that let me do that, but I'm trying to think. I don't know if it was like late 22 or more into the early 23 when that really happened. I guess I must have just been working. Yeah, I must have just been working on something, and somebody else was like, "Hey, are you able to fix this?" And I was just like, "Yeah, sure." And then that was, that cascaded. Everybody's like, "Oh, someone knows how to fix things," and I'm just like, "Yeah." They're like, "Ha ha." I'm like, But
I'll let Andrew take that over again, so people get tired of listening to me again.
Don't go too far, Al. I'm telling you, there's no guarantee.
Yeah, I'll see you in 5 minutes.
I don't know what's going on. This is crazy. This is the craziest thing. You think you're prepared, and then yeah, you can prepare all you want, and then life happens. But it's it's you can either let it consume you, or you can live, learn, and try to do better next time. So let's try to do better. Sorry guys, appreciate you guys the patience. I'm sure you guys are way more entertained watching Al than me as host. So again, Al, thank you so much for being on standby. That's what we do. Quick shout out to everyone that's joined us for the stream. Looks like we got 13 in there. Friendly reminder, give us thumbs up, like, subscribe, all that jazz. 13 people in here, so we should have at least 13 thumbs up and likes and subscribes. So what up to Devin, B&B Blasters, we got Ivy with Wings, Dead Man's Foam, DMF, and CR Nerf Bill are in the house. How goes it? Yeah, so obviously you guys have been enjoying DonutCat's tales of the story behind Donut, and I guess we're all the way here in Maryland at this point. So, but yeah, so you were raised by your grandparents essentially, and kind of picked up those habits, and then you migrated over here after the pandemic, just due to the circumstances. And then I remember you showed up. I forget which event you showed up to, but there was some correspondence within our MDFA, Maryland Foam Alliance Discord, that was happening. I remember talking about showing up to the events, and think you didn't end up showing up to one, and then another, and then finally you made it out to a Nerf herder event, and then I vaguely recall it was so. And it's crazy with our hobby and all the events you do and all the people you meet. The time just all kind of melts together, and you lose track of which year is when and when things happen. But this was probably 2-3 years ago when you first came out, and you were like, I have a bum foot or whatever. I'm gimpy and I will not be playing, but I will come and watch you guys. And I was like, this guy's weird. This dude's gonna pay to come and show and hang out, I guess. All right. So, but I remember you showed up, and I don't remember much after that, but at a certain point you started coming to more events, and yeah, it's kind of like you said. I think it was at DMV or at some point. I think I actually handed you something. It was probably something from a loaner, or it was it was probably more sophisticated than a loaner. But I think the result was I had handed it to you, and then I received it back, and I was just flabbergasted because I will tell you. I have a thing. So like when I got into the hobby, I bought blasters, and then I learned about blasters, and I got into modding and doing internals and very simple kind of stuff, very basic stuff, basic soldering, basic spring replacements, and things like that, kits and everything. It's nothing too serious. But at a certain point, I was getting so frustrated because I would end up having to redo things because I'm not an engineer. I'm not a UMBC student. I'm not smart by any means. Those guys can reverse engineer UFOs. I guarantee it. So my experience was very limited. I got the hang of it. I can mod a stripe, mod a spectrum, do the simple stuff. But of course, along the ways, there are frustrations. So at some point, I was like, you know what? I'd rather just pay someone and save myself the self anguish of modding and putting things together myself. So I would have Boomstick mods for the longest time was kind of my go-to Nerf mechanic. I would just hand stuff off, and then I realized very quickly that bro's busy a lot, so your turnaround time becomes the turnaround time actually was good. I think this is what happens is the turnaround time is good at the beginning. You're like, oh yeah, and they're willing to do it, so you hand stuff off. So I was handing stuff off to Boom, but at a certain point I hadn't seen like stuff for like over a year come back into my hands. So I was like, and then I kind of moved on, and Justice, aka Wonder Boy, the creator of the Spirit, came along, or was there the whole time, but basically was really getting into design and modding and everything like that. He's another UMBC alum grad. But I was handing stuff off to Justice, who, with the kindness of his heart, would just graciously fix stuff for me immediately, and I would get it back the next event. So that was great and fantastic. But then, of course, everyone found out about Justice and started overloading Justice with everything that they could to fix. And then comes along Donut, and at some point, like I said, Donut took a stab at something, and I think what impressed me was the most was I didn't have to wait for the next event to get it back. It was actually fixed probably like in a matter of like minutes. I was like, oh, geez, that's pretty useful. So I think that kind of evolved into shoving more fix-it projects into Donut's hands. And then he would show up to our events and, basically set up kind of a workstation and start working on people's stuff. And we started giving him projects out of the MDFA, such as the Gamotter bucket. The bucket, I'm not exactly sure the real name for it, but the game mode bucket that everyone uses these days. He took Adam's work and kind of improved on it, made some changes, and they kind of worked together. And now TNT has their own buckets. The West Coasters are using their own buckets. So, Donut became extremely useful in a very short amount of time. And I think at some point we had a owners meeting, and we were like, why don't we bring this guy in since he contributes so much, and he doesn't really play anyways because he's gimpy. We'll have him. We'll consider his opinion of value, essentially. So out of the four of us, essentially there would be tiebreakers and some decision makings, and we would call in on Donut for it. It's actually saying I'm having low battery again, Al. So do you want to step in real quick, just in case?
How do you have low battery? I thought you had it plugged in.
I don't know. I have no idea. It's saying battery. Let's just see real quick. I don't know why it's doing this to me. Why?
Is your outlet broken?
I have no idea. Yeah, it's going to shut off in a minute. So, Al, you back? So, why don't we just talk about this? So, why don't you just tell us about your first impressions?
Oh. Okay, you said something about first impressions. I'm being left by myself. I'm being left unsupervised. All right. First impressions of what? What did he want? What was he saying? All right. You know what? That's what you're all here for. Hey, look, it's this thing. I turned not actually a drill, an impact driver into a flywheeler. Wow, it's one of the things I'm mostly known for in the community is that and Ryobi. I'm not sponsored by Ryobi, but Ryobi, if you're watching this, give me money, please. Thank you. That's fun stuff. One day files will be out and other people can make one. Maybe I have to work on it. I have to have time to work on it. What else can we talk about? Everybody's, this is a recent favorite. Drum mags. People like drum mags, especially working drum mags. Oh, Al, I think you're muted.
Oh, am I back again?
Yeah, and Andrew fell out again.
Where did we leave off? I went to get a drink, man.
Yeah, he said, well, tell us about your first impression, and then just froze. And it's like, of what? I have a lot of first impressions, especially when my memory is so bad.
Well, tell you what then. What would you want to tell us your first impression of?
Oh, yeah, but that's the thing. Oh, wait, there's things I think, but I don't know. That's what thing. I'm not good at making stuff up. Well,
all right, I'll make stuff up. You had it up before. Tell us about the Ryobi blaster. That I love the best because when I saw that, because I'm a DeWalt guy, but partly because I have so many drills and batteries and stuff like that. So when I saw that happen, I still want to talk to you about it because I want a DeWalt one. But yeah, tell us about the drill blaster, man. Like, come on, that is awesome.
Oh yeah, this is the result of, I was looking at a drill body and I was like, that's not bad to hold. Injection molded, glass filled nylon and whatnot. And I'm like, I wonder if you can make something out of this. And then basically someone said, no, that's dumb. And I'm like, okay, well, now I have to do it. Because that's what...
Hold on, pause for a second. Now that right there, you see, ladies and gentlemen following at home, that right there, that is what's amazing. Anyways, keep going.
Yeah. And then I think it actually, the very first iteration of it happened very quickly. I had already had the drill body on hand because I just ordered a dead one from eBay. And I think if I remember correctly, there was a 2-week span between events, and I basically went home from one event and got into Fusion 3D and started working on parts immediately, and I had a mostly functional version of it by the next event 2 weeks away. Which I don't know how I did that. Well, no, I do. If I, sometimes I get lucky and I can focus on a single project really well. And then this happened to work. I can't do it at will, or else I'd be hazardous to somebody if I could do it at will. But yeah. And basically what it is, it's just a brushless blaster, a brushless fly core mounted into the body of the drill, and I've taken, and it still has the stock drill switch. So, it has the mode selector that is electrically functional, and then the switch itself. So mode selector lets me select firing modes, and then the trigger is a 2-stage trigger, so you get part way back, and it'll rev, and then fall the way back, and it'll fire. And solenoid and Kelly Plus motors that don't really exist right now, but they're going to exist soon. The updated version from a manufacturer that isn't sanctioned by the U.S. government. What a thing to happen! You get some custom motors made for the Nerf hobby, and then the manufacturer goes and is just like, hey, what if we do some stuff that's gonna make the government angry at us? And it's like, guys, our Nerf motors. How can you do this to us? Our Nerf motors.
Come on, man.
I'm actually running, one of the test sets of them in here now, and they're complete drop-ins for the previous ones. They're actually slightly nicer, but those are soon TM. I believe in the Kelly chat I saw that they're basically stuck in customs right now, and he has to just give them a call to see what they want, because they didn't contact him and say, hey, give us stuff. They just sort of sat there. Yeah.
I love
Kelly
when they do
Plus
that.
motors. Oh yeah, it's great.
Come on,
Plus
man.
Daybreak flywheels, because that's what was easily available at the time. Kelly 4-in-1 brushless ESC, which is inside of here. I basically made a cradle for it. It's shaped like the motor that would be in the drill, and then basically that sits in place of where the motor was and holds most of the electronics. And then then the solenoid is in front of that. And yeah, that's it. It's just, and then wrote my own firmware for it in CircuitPython, because C++ is kind of icky. Like, I'm sure people who know it, it's probably not so bad, but I'm like, modern 32-bit controllers, I don't need to care about optimizing for speed with them. I would rather save the time that I could gain from optimizing for speed. I'll instead save writing the code instead. So, yeah. And
it still
when
runs
it works,
and it runs off the Ryobi 18-volt battery, right?
Oh yeah. Let me. Can I see if I can get a battery out without knocking over Greg?
Side note: I love the fact that Andrew's show, we can show blasters and not suffer consequences. But anyways, let's not talk about that. I don't want to remind somebody. Anyways, yes, batteries, because we're talking about a drill. It's a drill, anyways.
Yeah. So Ryobi batteries. And basically, funny thing is, I didn't have Ryobi tools until I joined the MDFA and started, trying to think of when it happened. It might have actually been fall of 22. Basically, what I had done was I had a marshmallow blaster, and I didn't want to hand pump an air blaster. That takes too long. So what I did is I wanted to make it compressor powered. So I went looking, and Ryobi had a tire inflator that was exactly what I needed. So I got it and 2 batteries, And what I basically did would then clip that onto my shorts and run the hose to the back of the marshmallow blaster with a electronic pressure cutoff that I could set manually, so that for FPS limits I could go, all right, get it to where it hits this FPS, and then tell it to stop automatically. And did that, and I went with Ryobi partially because their batteries are backwards. They made their batteries backwards compatible with their older generations of tools. And their older generations of tools weren't lithium. They were NIM or NiCad, like either one of those, which you didn't have to care about cutoff voltages or whatever. You just pull power from them, and then when they die, and they don't care. You charge them back up. You can, dummy charge them. Lithium is a bit more, a bit pickier about that, hence you need a fancy charger and stuff. And so to be backwards compatible, all their batteries have all the circuitry inside and all the protections you need for lithium cells and stuff. You basically you get 18 volts off the 5S voltage off of the top two contacts, and that's it. The battery handles everything else. All the intelligent part is in there. So if you want to do custom stuff with it, like for example, it's a bit warped because it got left in a car. But this was just basically a custom USB power source I made that goes off of Ryobi batteries, and I didn't have to do anything real fancy. I just took a car USB charging thing that you could add into an older vehicle that didn't have one, and just hook it up to the battery, and it just works. The battery will cut off when the voltage is too low. The battery, it does all the safety stuff. So that was a good reason to go with them, because then I don't have to integrate protection circuitry or anything. But yeah, and I went with them. And then that's what started the Ryobi stuff, because once I already had that, I'm like, stick with it because it works well. And then
all right.
So for
now I gotta ask, and I will bug you because I can't tell you how many DeWalt drills I have, bigger ones and smaller ones. But I will happily throw these at you and any money to figure out, get me a couple, at least a DeWalt functional one.
I can definitely try. If you have any that have, where the gearbox attaches to the front. So like impact drivers, if you have impact drivers, those are easier because they usually just have screws at the front that attach the gearbox, and that's really easy to mount to. But yeah, if you want to, we'll talk it sometime and see. I do have a bunch of people on Instagram that are bugging me about it. They're like, hey, when are you going to make a DeWalt? When are you going to make a Milwaukee? And it's like, I don't know. I did have an offer for a while for people that I'm like, hey, if you send me a tool and a battery, I'll figure out the mount to it for you, so you can just mount a fly core into it. But yeah, no. So so drill body, Milwaukee or Ryobi battery. It beeps a little bit. Yep. And you can't.
Yeah, because
flywheels are idling now, so hit button once and.
What's the FPS you get off of that thing?
Depends on what mode I plug it in. So I also have it set the selector switch, whichever way it's selected, when you plug it in, chooses its FPS mode. So if I leave it just in the middle, it'll default to low FPS, which is about 120 for HVZ stuff. One way, I'm trying to remember how I have it set up. One way does about 160 for our 160 games, and the other one is supposed to be 200, but I have some wiring issues that basically over a certain power level, the motors desync from the controller, and it gets real unhappy. So I haven't done a high FPS with it for a while, but I've seen just over 200 out of this exact setup. So
that's amazing, brother. I love that, man. That is good.
Oh yeah. And let's see. Do I have them handy? No, I have them hidden away somewhere. I have some Robo Spirit wheels that I would like to. I got them at Mayhem that I would like to try and fit onto it, along with the the newer version.
I even have this old monster, man. This is like the old hammer. Like this thing's got to be 10 or 12 years old. Never mind the size of that thing and the weight, but you got room for all kinds of craziness. Or the more compact, but then the impact gun too. Like these are the ones. These are the drills I have in my basement. Never mind the ones I have in my truck. I have too many drills. Anyways, we'll talk about that. But keep going. You were going to say what you have? We were showing me.
Yeah, I have the OFD, the brushless Noid core that takes the replaceable plates, so you can put whatever motor spacing you want on them. I've definitely been playing with making a plate that'll take take spirit wheels on a fly core, which is kind of ridiculous because the wheels are just so big compared to other size wheels. So it looks a bit goofy, but I've been playing around with it. I wanna try that.
Dude, I think in the meantime, for everyone following along at home, if you have any questions, especially that we're talking about the stuff he's making and he's figuring out, if you have any questions, just feel free to drop them in the chat. We'll definitely check and see what we can answer if we want to answer, or maybe we'll well, no, let's not get off my lawn. We'll try to answer your questions.
yeah, I'll try and answer questions.
Oh my God, yeah. So then, all right, so you got the Ryobi thing, and so then what's the next thing of all the things? Well, should we talk about drum mags, because that also has now been it's getting you views on your socials. That's for like so. Which one has drums affected the most? Like a YouTube channel or your Insta, or which one?
Oh, Instagram. Like YouTube, I haven't put a video on YouTube in a while. I started a YouTube channel and then just kind of neglected it. I'm bad at, keeping up with stuff like that. I should do better. But no, drums, absolutely so Instagram.
Your Instagram pre-drums, how many followers or what's the most views you had?
All right, pre-drum mag, I had approximately 200 followers, and I think I had put the Ryobi on it, but in a couple more technical videos, like here it is in pieces, I guess a firing video, some pictures, but putting the drum mag on it and doing that first drum dump, I think before that I had maybe a max of like 3K views on any one of my video posts or reels or whatever.
And now post drum,
all of my older content has like 30K views. And then the ones that have the drums in them themselves, like the very first one that I did with the drum, has 6.4 million views currently. The second one, and it's funny because then I did one with the X shot, the piston pump, this thing that I've done some work on. I've got my meat tenderizer muzzle that I've been working on. I tried doing a video of that with the drum, doing a drum dump. That didn't do anything. It's at 30K right now, but at the time it wasn't it. So I went back to the Ryobi one, posted a second Ryobi one doing another drum dump. That one's at 6.3 million.
It's like what, drum mags, like seriously, drum mags. So then tell us about your adventures into drum mags. How'd that start?
Okay, so it started way back. I had bought a few kits of the Ezekiel Mythic drums. I think over a year back, I bought like 3 kits because that way the shipping would get down.
Yeah.
So it only ended up being like $50 a kit broken down. And those were fun. I built one. I really enjoyed it. It's just the experience of a lot of, there were proprietary parts in it that you couldn't reprint yourself. You really only got to print like the 4 parts for the shell yourself. And then just the pricing being so much, and then the shipping, mostly, honestly, shipping was a significant part of price, but it worked pretty well. And, I'd used that one drum quite a bit. But the experience of it was sort of behind the times. So I ended up only ever building one of them out of my kits, and I was going to sell those kits to Glennon, I think, but then he just started not having money from his job situation. Eventually, I guess June of this year, when my job let me go, I finally started listing a lot of stuff that I was like, okay, I don't need to hold on to this. I listed my 3 hardware kits for Mythic drums. RJ, you know RJ, yeah, a foam juggernaut for people who don't know him, bought those 3 kits asking me to do prints for him, and then he sent me like 5 kilos of proto pasta to print his drums out of. About a week after the filament reached me and I started printing Mythic drums, Captain Autismus posted an update post on the Super Drum 70 because he had, I believe, taken a break a while on it for mental health stuff, and made an update post. And I saw that, and I'm like, neat, because I'd known about it before in the crap Discord, Cross the Rough Atlantic Pacific, I don't remember what the acronym's for, but they had talked about it. The dude in there had done some testing on it and said it seemed really promising. So when I saw an update post, I immediately I'm like, okay, I'm going to go chase him down in the Discord and see if I can do some beta prints. And that ended up with my first, smacking. That ended up with my first one. And I printed it. I didn't put a whole lot of effort into figuring out settings and stuff. I just printed it, sent it, and it worked. It just works really well. And I was just like, neat, I like this. So I printed a second one. I got a bit fancier on it and stuff, and that worked. I had both of these at APOC this year. I actually had them duct taped together, jungled together. Turns out that wasn't a great idea because the weight of two of them, this is 1.5 kilos before being loaded up. The weight of two of them on the neck of the drum is actually a bit much, and it slightly broke the neck of one of the drums, but I've actually got it glued now, and it's just back now because if you break the neck off, you can still just reprint the neck part and not have to reprint the whole rest of it, and there you go.
So wait a minute. Do you still have the kits? Did you have to buy more kits then because you sold them off to RJ, or you said RJ, no, I'm keeping these now?
No. So RJ bought the Mythic drum kits that I had.
Oh, that's right. Yes, sorry.
I was selling off these. The great thing about these is they don't need proprietary hardware. They take M3 screws. They take drum springs, either the foam blast style or the newer, more generic style, I believe they're called. Some heat sets, and then two slightly weird sizes of two of a slightly weird size of bearings, but the bearings are $1 each off of Amazon. So it's so you can just go buy the hardware and then print off the files. You don't have to do with the Mythic drum and order from Ezekiel and wait a few weeks for it to show up in the mail. So I bought enough pieces for the first one, had it printed, bought pieces. Well, actually, I still had bearings and stuff for the second one, printed it. And after I had those two printed, RJ contacts me. He's like, hey, how well do those work? And I'm like, they work pretty well. I had some troubles with the Ryobi because it's a solenoid pusher, and depending on how your solenoid is set up, it's a little picky with, spring force and everything. But anybody who runs double sprung talons is gonna be familiar with that issue. But he's like, yeah, how does it work? And I'm like, it works pretty well. It's like, hey, if I pay you want to print me two of those? And that's where the purple and green one that I do the first clip with on my Instagram, that's where that came from. Those were the ones I did for him, where I got fancy with the two-tone coloring and everything.
You're so fancy.
Yeah. So I have the first two I did for me, the two I did for him. I had last week two more on my desk, two blue ones. Who's this? That I did for a local for Matt. And then I have another two mostly built here. These are also for a local, Aiden. I kind of forgot to print the followers, so I have them ready to print. It's just I'm not running the printer while we're trying to talk. I have the front piece of one here, another slightly fancier one for another local for Glennon, and then I'm gonna do one for Andrew, but I haven't started it yet because he's last in line for. He got to me last about it, so it's just there's a queue. And I've also been printing other stuff this week. But yeah, no, I think.
All right. Can I jump? I'm going to jump in behind Andrew, black and yellow, man, and let me know how much I owe you.
Okay. You might have to remind me, but because yeah, but yeah,
Not a problem.
We'll talk it. Yeah. Yeah, but no, I think they're great because I mean, look at this. It just looks so good because it's just so much drum, and then it's just 70 darts. You just hold down the trigger for 70 darts, and you're sitting there like, there's still darts, and it's fun. It puts a smile on anyone's face, and that's the important part. Is it's just fun. And I
want it for my Protean.
Yeah, and I think that has I think for a while, as a little with the work situation, with school and classes and stuff, I think I've lately been getting, a little worn down on some stuff, some Nerf stuff. But I think this really, it's fun stuff like this that helps, keep me still interested, provide stuff for me to latch onto and really enjoy about the hobby. And so, I love the drums. I think if anybody's considering getting a drum, absolutely go order parts for one, order a printed one. There's several people that are offering them. Bears Wares, Out of Darts, our local Jason Chaos Bunny Customs. I believe if you look that up, you'll find them. But the hardware is affordable. It's trying to think. I think Jason offers it for $13 for the 2 bearings, all of the screws you need, all the heat sets you need, all the drum springs you need. It's not a very significant investment for.
No, that's awesome.
For the enjoyment factor. It's just a lot of fun. And also, ideally buy kits. Yeah. And the designer, anybody who's selling kits, you can also just go to the printables page and he will have links to official sellers, and he gets a kickback from that. Support his hard work in making a drum mag that works so well, because that I think has been a thing that's sort of been a
unicorn, man.
Yeah, been a unicorn that people have been chasing for a while. Is that ever since the 35 drum from the N-Strike 35 drum, the 25, the 18, people have wanted the hobby
50.
grade.
Yep.
A hobby grade drum mag, and there's been a few iterations, and it's a tricky thing to conquer because of the physics at work of a foam dart, a compressible projectile that you're feeding through there. Really, I tell people that there's a triangle that you have to deal with drum mags, where you have simplicity, feeding well, and not crushing the dart. And really, you have to be able to this is big. Well, I mean, space efficiency, not crushing the dart, simplicity. So you have stuff. Anybody who had a mythic drum will go, yeah, this is real difficult to load and stuff because you had to feed a certain number in, rotate a few clicks, feed more in, rotate a few clicks, open the little hatch on top, darts in, click, darts in, click. This, it's still a little trickier. You have, the ratcheting system of ratchet 4, feed in. It's more complicated in a Talon. Let's just put it there. It's more complicated in Talon. But, it's going to have to be to make the drum work well, because there's been others, the D-mags, I think they were called, that were basically just a looped around Talon. Those, were neat, but very finicky to actually get to work well, because you're just, again, forcing foam darts around the outside of a curve versus having the, all the tech of the you can't really see it in that one. Can't really see it in that one. Yeah, the fan follower moving it. You have to have complexity to make it work well.
Yeah, you're right. You touched upon the main things that cover it. Now, hold on.
Yeah.
Do we have Andrew for a third time?
Yeah.
I don't know. I have no idea. Yeah. I'm just here for moral support at this point.
Yeah.
It's not my show anymore. It's
hey, man.
It's Foam Zone with Al the Geek.
Teamwork makes the dream work, man. Are you nuts? I'm not even dressed for it. Anyways, Andrew, go, brother.
I gave up a long time ago. You've been doing great. I should just have you be my permanent replacement, and you will never ever hear from me or have to look at my posts ever again.
Forget that, man. You're back in. Too bad, man. You are sticking around for this.
I don't even know what to tell you guys, but thank you, Al. Appreciate you. So I don't know how long I'll be here for, but yeah, I guess we're talking about drums and social media and all that stuff. So I will say we have this joke that Donut have been talking about, or amongst us in our chats, that the tip we can give for people that are aspiring to be content creators in our hobby is just get a drum mag and a Ryobi drill or some kind of drill blaster that resembles a drill. Slap a drum mag on it. Shoot the video, post it, instant followers. That's the secret to social media. Drum mag dumps with a drum blaster. That's the secret to social media for Nerf. That's it. That's all. Make sure you hashtag correctly. Yep.
Yeah, I do think the Ryobi part is specifically important because then you'll get more people arguing in the comments, and that's engagement.
It's true. There is engagement. I will say pretty much every single video that I have recently posted with a mag in it of some sort has gotten significantly more views than any other videos that I tend to post. So again, if you guys want the secret is drum mag and drill blasters. So you can test my theory out and thank us later. But yeah, so it's kind of funny because, I forget how long the Super 70. I know you showed up to one of the mod parties that we have here in Maryland with it, and it kind of blew everyone's mind, specifically because we had Ezekiel's before that, which was, at the time had blown our minds. We were like, oh my gosh, they finally did it, and then the Super 70 comes out, and then we threw that sucker in the inverted scales in an AEB and let that sucker fly. And I mean, there's something very satisfying about mag dumping a short dart mag with an AEB shooting around 300 FPS. I can tell you that. So, but yeah, it's kind of funny. I think where we left off, again, we're kind of getting to that time just because of the logistics and everything. But I wanted to talk about, and I think you already did, but again, kind of your place in the MDFA, kind of how that evolved, and then kind of how you've become a very useful asset here, and you took over some of the duties over at Maryland for the Maryland Foam Tournament, and logistics involved with trying to set the standard for the way we think darts and ammos and FPS caps and things like that are involved. A lot of the stuff that people don't really think about or even know where to begin. But yeah, I mean, you create a whole spreadsheet and had the deviations for each kind of darts and just all crazy stuff that no sane person would ever do. But let's just talk a little bit about your involvement now that I'm back on here and with the Maryland Foam Alliance. But just talk a little bit about your involvement with the Maryland group in the area and kind of how you fit in and your place and just your overall experience.
Yeah. Well, it started when people were like, "Hey, you're useful and dependable," and I'm just like, "Uh-oh. Oh no, they noticed." Yeah,
you showed your cards. You showed your hand too soon, is what happened.
I did. Yeah, I was dependable and usable, and they're like, "Here you go, have some responsibility." And I'm like, "Okay, yeah, it's fine. I've enjoyed it. I think, you're right. I don't play a whole bunch. I think basically it boils down to I'm not great at playing Nerf. I mean, okay, as far as like being bad at Nerf, but like as far as game modes and stuff, I don't. Competitively don't do well, but I am, good at fixing things, and I feel like I'm good at helping run events. So I'm like, okay, let me do the thing that I'm good at. Yeah, I mean, oh jeez, I forgot where I was going with that. Yeah, I think it's been a good experience. I've really enjoyed being able to help run events, working on stuff, making things happen. I enjoy being able to contribute to making things happen a bunch, and by fixing things, by helping run events, by the work with the Dart standardization for MFT. That was a huge undertaking. Like you said, I already had some of the spreadsheet done. I had, the DonutCat simple Dart energy spreadsheet that I just had as a personal project for a while, where I'm just like, hey, people are always, wondering how does a Dart at whatever compare to a Dart at whatever. What if I just make a tool that you go in there, you put in the number you want, and there you go. It'll tell you all of the math, and way much more math than you could really ever want. And, I started with that. And for MFT specifically, it was a question of, trying to move it forward, make it more legitimate, I think, as you tend to say, Andrew. Make it more legitimate to like real sports with standardization, because, in real sports, basketball, the basketball is standardized. It's not everybody brings whatever. And in working with Dart Zone to get the nitro shots, that was the goal of trying to reach a point of standardization that would work for everyone. And so, the undertaking of the having people submit their data and being able to use that data to look at it and say, okay, how do we make it align with, make it kind of backwards compatible in a way to previous years, the numbers that we had then, so that we're not just suddenly saying this year, hey, everybody, we're using these new darts. We're just going to set the numbers, whatever. You now have to change to account for it. We didn't really want to dump that on the players so much, as we wanted to have a bit of a transitional period of just being able to absorb some of the difficulties from the players while also compromising and making it so that there was still forward change. And it was a big undertaking. But a lot of people submitted data for it, and I really appreciate it. And I think it would be neat to sort of, one of my ideas going forward is to try and have a longer term version of that. Just have a form that people could always just submit their data to, and have people be able to always look up real world results for stuff that they want information on. They want to go, how does a Lynx with this specific setup do with these darts? And they'd be able to look and be like, okay, these 3 different people have gotten these results on this, so this is something I can expect. I think that would be a good long-term project. I think, what else were you wanting me to touch on? I talk and I don't remember what else you were asking for.
I mean, just kind of the evolution of your role that you play here now with us here in Maryland.
Oh yeah, I mean, like I had said, it started off. People are like, "Hey, you're useful." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm useful and dependable." I'm like, "Here, have some responsibility." And it was sort of like, a stair step of, a little bit of things to do, and I showed that I could do it, and then just on top of that, on top of that, on top of that, and I think it was 2024 MFT. I was assisting with it, but wasn't really part of the planning process. If I remember correctly, I was just sort of still day of volunteer and stuff for it. But after that, basically, I believe I got brought on for some of the, like you said, the tie-breaking stuff. Basically, I had at that point somehow proven that I was reliable, trustworthy enough for that you brought me on and said, hey, we want your feedback on stuff. We think you have good opinions, which I don't know how I gave you that impression. My opinions are
I don't even know either.
I have opinions. Yes, that is correct. I have opinions. Sometimes they're not horrendous, but
sometimes.
And that basically to evolve to, I am basically the overseer of the Discord. I make sure that runs. I keep things intact there.
Well, that's a huge element actually that we should touch upon. Specific. I got low battery again, so get ready, Al. But yeah, that's a huge thing. Is just monitoring the Discord, and anyone that runs a Discord channel can appreciate the logistics of having to moderate and keep everyone in check, and making sure everyone's behaving properly. Because we do have kids and people that aren't 18, and so you want to make sure there's a safe but still fun environment for people to kick in. But Al, why don't you come in just in case? Because I have a feeling if you guys don't see me again, we will be back in 2 weeks with another episode with Foam Mando. Foam Mando is going to be on. I'm super excited. So they're doing great work. I heard they just started doing work with Dr. Flux, so super excited to hear about that. And something I've been wanting to talk about is Nerf and cosplay. So we'll have Foam Mando on the next episode. I'll be back on, next week will be Al and Xavier for another episode of Get Off My Lawn. But yeah, just in fear of me getting cut off again, Al, why don't you close out the show for us? Thanks, guys. Appreciate you guys. Don't forget the Dart Sweep!
Dart Sweep!
I'm going to go cry now, guys.
He's going to go cry while playing any of his video games, his pool table, his full-size pool table that we had to haul up into his living area.
You can mention
there.
Beyblades and how Beyblades has...
If you ever get the chance, man, and you're in the Maryland area, and Andrew has a mod party at his house, mod party, Andrew's place is the ultimate playground, where it's a great place, lots of space. Never mind video games, pool table, air hockey table, Nerf stuff in the garage, Beyblade. Like if you show up to his house and he's bored, the problem is not Andrew's house. The problem is you, and you should go see a therapist.
I just got that gunpowder shooting target, electronic shooting thing for airsoft. So that's
how did you get a hold of one of those? That's
pretty surprised. It was Facebook Marketplace. I still bet you it was that, because that's where he finds everything.
Yeah, it only works out sometimes. Sometimes you find stuff on Facebook Marketplace, and then we drive an hour up into Maryland, get there, and they're like, "Oh yeah, someone else showed up and took that," and it's like,
"Oh
yeah,
dude.
that was a night. That was a But
it was worth it though, because now we got a good air hockey table.
Yeah,
key
pool table. Yeah. It was it had to suffer a little bit, but eventually we got there. Yeah, it does a
nice. All right, Donut. I got a question then. All right, Andrew. Okay. Thanks, brother.
Yep.
So I guess we'll close this out shortly. I guess. So what is the main? As Andrew says, like how you're part of the Maryland Foam Alliance and stuff like that. What is your favorite thing about being part of that? Like that group that helps to make the dream that is Maryland Foam Alliance work.
Oh, absolutely! Just being a part of something that makes events happen, gives people a place to go and play Nerf and have Nerf events. Because back in North Carolina, for a while there, the closest thing to me would have been at the time SENC, which would have been down in Atlanta. Like I know for a while, I think more recently Raleigh Youth Nerf Club for a while, but like I think they didn't pop up till like late 2010s, I want to say. So like 2005 onward, there really wasn't much of an option. So I think Maryland is I think a lot of the players in Maryland are incredibly fortunate that like we have 3 events a month, like all in the the Maryland, the DMV area. Like that's crazy that we're able to do that sort of thing and give Nerfers in the area that sort of opportunity, and just to be a part of that, to do that, it's like it feels great that I'm able to help make that happen, to be able to be there to do stuff like that. So I really enjoy that aspect of it. It's fun and things happen, and I think it's the same. It's right in line with me working on stuff to make things work, as I like making things work for people, and that's an evolution of that, or just an extension of that, is making the events happen, which I think is why I'm more than happy to be in an admin role rather than a active player role a lot of the time, is to help facilitate that. That's the same reason, extending from that to, like Andrew said, Beyblades. We took over Beyblade events that were happening down in Springfield Mall the previous organizer was just not going to be working at the game store anymore. He's like, hey, anybody that can take this over. And we had been going there for a few events, I think like 2 or 3 events at that point. And it was funny. Before hearing anything else, as soon as he had posted the announcement, I went in chat and I was about to say, hey, I'm pretty sure Andrew will reach out to you about this. And I'm like, I didn't send it because I'm like, Andrew's got stuff going on, so maybe he won't. But then I hear from Andrew's like, yeah, I reached out and told him we would take it over. I'm just like, I knew you would do that. Yeah, Beyblades, that definition of that escalated quickly.
No, just for those that aren't local, the Springfield Mall is in Virginia. It is, if you're looking at Washington D.C., it's down like on the bottom section of it, and so that's actually closer to where Donut and I live, where everything else is in Maryland, way north of us. And am I right? Every event, I feel like they purposely plan it that way, is an hour away from us. Even though they're all over Maryland, they're still at least an hour away from us. But I guess the advantage is if they're an hour away from us, it just means they got a broader reach to pull you all in, and there's something. If you're anywhere in this general area, one of these events is convenient to you.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I feel like the only way that you're like more than maybe 2 hours out from one of the events, just from the closest one, is if you're up above Baltimore. Now at that point, the drive to Nerf Herders is probably a bit long. But still, I think it's spread out really well so that if you're in Maryland, you have a really good opportunity of being within a reasonable range of one of the events. So I think it works out for people.
Now, before we wrap it up, is there anything that you want to say, talk about, or mention that we haven't talked about? And you're like, man, why have we not mentioned this?
Oh yeah. I finished this up yesterday, which you're probably familiar with this guy. I think you probably saw one at last Minhan Battle. This is the Raider by I'm trying to what Nick's username is. If you go on Principles, Raider Nerf Launcher Nutty Mudman. This is a MDFA local. Honestly, another thing is MDFA. Like, we're lucky. We have so many people local who make so many neat things. Like, you have Justice, who made the Spirit. You got Nick, who makes fun stuff like this. I think Jeremy.
You made the drum, or you made the Ryobi drill.
I mean, but that's sort of like a personal project. But still, like, there's a lot of people in the area that make a lot of really neat things, and it's just like there's a large concentration of that in Maryland specifically. Like, East Coast has. Up in Uno territory, they have a bunch of people who do neat stuff too. But I feel like Maryland in particular, just fortunate with a combination of things. And I built this because Phil, another local, managed to get a hold of 2 Gobzookas. And so I told him that in trade for the 2 Gobzooka cores, I would build him and Adriel a Raider. And Phil, by the way, is another person that's MDFA local that we are incredibly blessed to have around, because he just does, him and Adriel together do so much for the group. That
free labor.
Yeah, I don't know what we would do without them. Like, it's fantastic. So I was more than happy to make Phil one of these, and he runs a bunch of Ryobi gear, so I'm like, let me put in the effort to get that, up to snuff for him. I only managed to cut myself open working on this once, so it went pretty well.
Blood, sweat, and tears, man. Come on.
Yeah, but this is an incredibly neat build. For anyone who's familiar, it takes Jericho shells. This thing will shoot 7 Mega XL at a time. It'll shoot a dump pouch full of half darts at a time. If you have the shell that goes in it, it'll shoot anything that you can fit above this space. Basically, you could probably shoot a potato with it. Maybe not a very large potato, but I'm sure if you had a shell that fit a potato, you could shoot a potato with it. So, if you have a Gobzooka laying around, or you know where to get them, you should build one of these.
Give them to us. We'll take them.
Won't complain. Yeah, I would say I wouldn't mind having more, because I still have to build mine. But very fun. Nick did a great job on this. Yeah, I think other than that, what else? Do I have anything else? No, I talked about the Ryobi, talked about how I have way too many drums in close proximity. Oh, okay, another shameless plug.
Yes. We're about the
This
shameless
is one.
plugs.
Yeah, this is by Neil or Boomstick Mods. Can I get that to autofocus better? Yeah, he's got these custom Mountain Dew shells up on his Etsy now that are really cool and a whole lot of effort and printing time, and he gave me one of them, and it's very cool.
We like
You
to
should
read it
go.
as Mountain Pew.
That's only that's only for the stuff where the
Where we didn't
clothing
get,
company got cold feet and was like, "Oh wow, they're gonna sue us." It's like, do you not know how parody works? Whatever. But yeah, those are neat. Silly shells. Go give his Etsy a visit. They're very cool. And just anything silly shells is fun. You can tell I've got that's my way back there. My battle axe. It gets a spot being shown off all the time next to my tiny 3D printer.
We going to be seeing a breacher coming from you. Speaking of silly.
I don't think I'm actually going to build a breacher. It's very fun, but it's just I already have a battle axe, and like I appreciate the proper shotgun format, but with the work situation and the school situation and everything, I had to start thinking about trying to prioritize my projects a bit more. Be like, there's a lot of things that I look at and go, I like this, I want to do something with this, but then I need to start narrowing it down a bit and be like, okay, do I just like it a little bit, or do I like it enough to put to take a chunk of my time and effort to put into it to make sure something happens with it. So
that makes sense.
It's just, Breacher's fun. Lots of people have them. If you like the Spring Thunder but want it bigger, anybody listening, you should go make a Breacher. They're very cool.
I need a Breacher.
Yeah, you said you won a Breacher. Can't wait to hold it. You want to be... Yeah. I would say they're fun. They're fun. It's just I'm not, 100% on it. So I'm like, that's something that I can pass up and, put that time and effort into other projects getting done. Maybe. I say that.
Perfect.
Do the other projects get done?
Eventually.
I don't know. Lots of drums are getting done. So
one project at a time, man. All right then. Socials, brother. Tell people where to find you.
Oh, where to find me? Let me go look up the links, look at them again, because I don't remember. They're slightly different because turns out DonutCat has taken on a few platforms. Instagram, I'm DonutCat Nerf. You might have had somebody show me my reel already, because I kept having people come up and say, "Hey, somebody showed me your reel," and was like, "Hey, this is cool." And then they were like, "Oh yeah, I know that guy." And it's like, "Oh, on YouTube, I am." It's just this DonutCat. DonutCat 0, because DonutCat was taken. Printables.com. I did get just DonutCat. I got lucky there. I have some neat stuff there. Not much as far as like whole blasters. I'm a little bit better at making accessories for blasters. I got some parts to go with them. I guess I do have some neat mag holders and a mag that is frankly a little dumb. The Hubris mag. That thing is dumb. I could go get that, but it's up on the shelf. And then donutcat.org. I have a website where I hosted the stuff like the submission form for the MFT Nitro Darts data. It's up there. I'm hoping to get more stuff put up there that'll be useful for stuff. Some general info, helpful stuff. Start hosting like my my FPS energy conversion spreadsheet up there so people can find it. So yeah, lots of info there.
You nerd, that's awesome.
Yeah, I'm like, what if I put useful resources in one place? Because I like collecting useful information, useful data, and making useful stuff. That's why I do spreadsheets.
I need to make a point out. So yeah, DonutCat Nerf. He has 10 posts. Pre-drum, 200 followers. Post-drum, 8,490. You bastard. Well done.
Yeah, on the road to 10K.
Drums. All right, so brother, thanks for being on, man. It was great as always, just hearing about everything that you do, man. And we are so glad that you ended up here, man, or stick around here, because it if you're at the events and you're wondering if he's got his head down, feel free to go talk to him. But if he tells you to go away because he's busy, he's busy. But go ahead and talk to the Donut Cat. You will find him at the Maryland events, and sometimes Andrew is able to drag him out to other ones as well. As always, it all depends on time, schedule, and money. With that said, brother, thanks for being on, man. Love to have you. Everyone following along at home, hey, man, you'll be back. Trust me. It's Andrew. Yep. I'm surprised next time he's going to have you at his house to help him fix out his problem now, which is why he's not here anyways, because you become
I would say other Wednesdays I'd be at his place anyway. We'd be playing pool, Beyblades, Magic the Gathering, any number of things. Yeah, Andrew's place is the hangout. Yep.
It is, man. We just got to move his house south a little bit. But anyways, with that said, ladies and gentlemen, thanks again for following along. Thanks for another episode of Foam Zone. Andrew will be back. This is still his show. I'm just glad to fill in and to make sure that the great show that he's built here just continues and does what it does, man, because I love what this place does, and I think it's amazing. Again, next week it'll be myself and Captain Xavier on Get Off My Lawn. Will we have somebody? Probably. Do we know who? We do not know yet. We had a couple in mind, but that's not going to happen, so we're going to have to reschedule, but it doesn't matter. Next Wednesday, Get Off My Lawn. 2 weeks, Foam Zone will be back on. Other than that, ladies and gentlemen, thanks again. Don't forget to Dart Sweep.
Dart Sweep.